today's Spotlight, you'll spin and crash in the Daytona 500.
You leap and save with football's gambling goalies.
You'll forehand and backhand with even the not-so-terrible, for Pete's sake.
You'll ski and soar to the top of the world.
And you'll run and run with the world's best not-so-lonely long-distance runners. All this and much, much more.
Today's Spotlight Bulletin begins with stock car motor racing at the Daytona 500 in Florida last Sunday, where a crowd of 145,000 was the early leader. Rick Wilson's number 8 car was up against the wall with Greg Sack and his number 18. Meanwhile, Earnhardt was up against a passing bird.
You can see right there, the bird.
Is this going to be an upset? We'll see.
With only 5 laps to go, Ernie Irvan in the yellow number 4 takes a decisive lead, pulling 3 car lengths out in front of Earnhardt and Davey Allison in number 28. Back in the pack, cars.
And the 1991 winner of the Daytona 500 is Ernie Irvan.
And he can't believe it either.
In Italian First Division football last week, it was the day of the goalies, as Pagliuccio of Sampdoria spectacularly saves a Juventus attempt. Then Taccioni of Juventus shows his stuff. Pagliuccio's turn to take a bow. Taccioni is at it again and again. Unbelievable. Mancini of Sampdoria is off on a great run and is brought down, but no penalty results. Then Vialli shoots just wide from a Sampdoria free kick, and for once Taccioni can watch in comfort. This time Mancini earns a penalty as he is brought down in the Juventus area, and Vialli gives Taccioni no chance. Juventus has not given up. The ball is cleared but crossed back into the Sampdoria area. Schillaci heads but Pagliuccio tips over. One final Taccioni save limits Juventus to a 1-0 victory and keeps the club atop the standings. In the French First Division, it was first place and reigning champion Marseille in white shirts against bottom of the standings Toulouse. Midfielder Bruno Germain is fouled, and even though Toulouse protests, a penalty is given. And First Division top scorer Jean-Pierre Papin gets another goal. England's Chris Waddle, who stars for Marseille, was in great form, but no further goal resulted. Second place Monaco in red shirts got the first goal against Nice when Yuri Djorkaeff races off, only to be brought down by the Nice goalie. Yuri himself scores the penalty. After a great throw-in from the right sideline, Nice equalled through a Christophe Buffett volley. Then Robbie Langers earns a penalty for Nice but fails to convert the kick. Finally, Ramon Diaz of Argentina settles the issue off a rebound and Monaco wins 2-1.
Still in France, this time for the Tour of the Mediterranean cycle race in a dark and drizzly Marseille on February 17th. The pack wound their way through the grey Marseille streets. It was a world-class field, including Tour de France champion Greg LeMond of the USA, who however was never in contention. Phil Anderson, number 22 in the yellow jersey, the 33-year-old Australian veteran, had won this race in 1985. Last week, with 400 meters to go, Anderson sprinted clear. Looking back to check his position, the Australian stayed 4 seconds ahead of the pack right up to the finish. And he won hands up. Overall, Anderson won the complete race by 30 seconds. Not bad for a middle-aged man.
Welcome to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where last week for the 30th year this city hosted the US Pro Indoor Championship. And it's Ivan Lendl against Pete Sampras, the past and the future meeting in the present. Lendl had beaten Brad Gilbert in the semi-finals. Sampras had knocked out John McEnroe, finishing off the left-hander with the last of 10 aces. Now it's 1 set all and 2-2 in the third. $135,000 first prize is at stake in this final. Sampras takes this point easily, but he's been bothered by injuries for the past month, whereas Lendl has been on a special diet and exercise program and is lean, fit and determined to take revenge on Sampras for defeating him at last year's US Open. Watch this backhand by Lendl. It's a whiplash and leaves a much younger Sampras flat-footed.
Kids that are starting to get into sports themselves.
Then watch Lendl move in this great rally. He finally loses the point but is all over the court.
One set all.
Then he easily breaks the Sampras serve to take the third set 6-4. In the fourth set, both players get in only 48% of their first serves, but Sampras serves 6 aces to take the fourth. Lendl has won 70% of the 131 finals he has played in. Sampras has won 100% of the 3 he has played in. Sampras is the defending champion. Lendl won in '86, and this fifth set will decide the '91 winner. Lendl has won 60% of the 5-set matches he has played, Sampras 80%, but of only 5. So get set and watch some brilliant tennis.
Lendl down the line.
No, too tough a shot though. He knew he had to go for that one. And first of all, it's the lob that goes up, the defensive lob. Lendl plays a smart shot here. He rolls it, and then this is the shot that he wanted. He whips that one down the line. But look at Sampras. He picks that one, but the ball is struck straight at him, very close to the body. It was a tough shot for him to pick up.
Still break point.
Another great rally coming up. Try and count the shots. Lendl misses on the 21st. But no misses this time.
Oh, he's hit that so well this tournament. It has got him out of trouble.
And then match point. And Lendl proves that he is still the ace, winning 5-7, 6-4, 6-4, 3-6, 6-3. The check and the kappa with Lendl. And so is the crowd. And Ivan even shows he has a sense of humor.
Last time we played somewhere in Texas, I remember you said after whipping me you didn't work out a sweat. So I worked out a sweat today and I hope you did too. Thanks.
Long distance running is the purest of all sports. A man alone on the road without equipment or teammates or boundary lines. Since the beginning of time, man has always strived to run faster and longer. And even in today's harshly competitive world, the essence of running has not changed. The ease, the agony, the final reward, be it victory or simply the joy of completing a race, are eternal. Since the end of the last century, the marathon, especially at the Olympics, has been the ultimate long-distance race. Legends such as Waldemar Sierpinski of Germany won 2 Olympic marathon golds at Montreal in 76 and Moscow in 80. But at Amsterdam in 1928, women were only allowed to run the 800 meters, and the collapse at the finish convinced chauvinistic Olympic officials to wait until 1984 at Los Angeles to allow Joan Benoit and other women a chance to run the marathon. And by 1990, at races like the Honolulu Marathon, men and women were running side by side in the thousands. And long-legged African striders like Ibrahim Hussein from Kenya dominated for 3 straight years, in between winning the New York and Boston marathons before giving over to Tanzanian police sergeant Simon Robert Nali, who won in 89 and 90. African dominance continues in 91 at the prestigious Tokyo Marathon on February 10th, where Abib Mekonnen of Ethiopia just holds off Japan's Toru Kozazu in a spectacular finish. Don't forget, this is after running over 26 miles. In unusual locations like Java, the hottest place in the world, it is the shorter road races that have made long-distance running really popular. This 10-kilometer race has the richest prize money in the world and thus attracts great runners such as Arturo Barrios of Mexico, 10,000-meter world record holder on the track, Italian Salvatore Antibo, third fastest 10-kilometer runner in history, and of course the Africans Bedilo Kibret and Addis Abebe from Ethiopia. There is a $500,000 bonus for breaking the world record in this race, and this fact is very much on Barrios' mind as he leads Olympic 5,000-meter gold medalist John Nogi of Kenya and Abebe in the early going. But near the finish, it was the young star Abebe pulling away like his namesake and fellow Ethiopian Abebe Bikila, Olympic marathon champion in 60 and 64. Abebe is an easy winner, but the hot and humid weather kept him 17 seconds from the world record. Barrios finished a strong second. In Spokane, Washington, USA, the weather was cooler, and the Lilac Bloomsday 12-kilometer run blossoms into a beautiful race. And yes, an African is out in front. Kipkemboi Kimeli of Kenya, bronze medalist in the 88 Olympic 10,000 meters. But he is caught by Martine Pitayo of Mexico, and since 86, Mexican runners have been catching everybody. And in 1990, the best was Dionisio Cerón. He came down from the Mexican hills to win 4 big ones in 90, setting records at the LB's Distance Classic 20K and the Philadelphia Half Marathon. Pitayo was another top Mexican in 1990, his 4th place at the Lilac Bloomsday balanced by 3 victories, especially the Boulder 10K and the old-style Chicago Marathon. And finally, Salvador Garcia, who in spite of an unimpressive start, finished the year strongly with a 1st place at the International Peace Race 10K and a very good 2nd at the New York City Marathon. It is high-altitude training that is the secret for Mexican and African runners, and Barrios knows the benefits of that secret.
For instance, I don't want to be considered. I don't want people to say that I'm the world record holder. I want people to say that I'm the guy who opened the doors for Mexican runners.
Dionisio Cerón ran right out of that open door to victory after victory. And even if he staggered after crossing the finishing line, he and his Mexican running mates are standing tall in international long-distance running. Outstanding women runners are coming out from behind the fallen Iron Curtain and making names for themselves in the West. Jutta Pippig of Germany was 2nd at the 1990 Boston Marathon. A year before, she and other East German and Russian runners would never have known they could even compete. Now, runners like Katrin Ulrich of Germany know they can not only compete, but win as well. And that's what John Campbell of New Zealand also knows, even though he's well past the watershed age of 40.
Well, this beaten up thing you're talking about, it's only due to the fact they've obviously overtrained. I mean, I know Jack trained in the hills every day. You know, he's up and down hills. And day and age, I got to look at my retirement, and maybe I'm going to be here for 3 or maybe 10 years, or who knows. I mean, I don't know my limit. I'm not there yet. I'm quite sure I'm not there yet.
The New Zealand marathon champion Campbell broke the 26-year-old Boston Marathon record for men over 40, and his best may be yet to come. It may be ages before he starts to run. Running is ageless. And as stride follows stride down the long road of life, for the true runner, the race is as sweet as the victory.
This is Miura Yuichiro of Japan, the man who skied down Mount Everest in 1969, a classic.
No doubt about it, Miura is a true adventurer. He skied down the highest peaks of all 7 continents, under all kinds of conditions, including an avalanche. What you're watching is Miura skiing and surviving a massive avalanche in Antarctica. For most of us, the fear alone would be fatal. Miura thought it was funny.
Oh, it's funny, and also I enjoyed to involve for that.
What do you think helped you survive the avalanche?
Oh, God.
God. Miura even met his wife at a mountaineering school. What's it like for her to have a husband who goes to such great lengths for excitement?
She hated it.
This seemingly normal-looking man is actually Japanese daredevil Miura Yorichido, the only man to ever ski down Mount Everest. He also holds the distinction of being the only man to ever fall down Mount Everest. We asked him what it was like.
That's end of my life, and yes. What kind of next my life will be.
Aren't you afraid of anything?
I'm afraid of my wife and also traffic of Tokyo.
Traffic in Tokyo. And your wife.
And my wife.
From classic to comedy. This week's Unusual Boxing Routine Award goes to James Rowe. We flipped out with James on this one. But then, James got a little carried away and his flip became a flop. Speaking of flops, watch this one. This poor journalist will do his next interview over the phone. And now, you knows what ties are really for. How about this Mr. Junior Universe? Check out this pose. And this one. And if anyone throws sand in his face, he calls in his buddies, the fearsome foursome. And for this golfer and his friends, tea time becomes tree time. 4. Was this parachutist too bushed to get off the ground? Watch the concentration. Billy Olsen is going for a world record. Forget it.
Who done it? Well, it's a tall tale, but he done it. A winning jump of 6 feet 7 1/4 inches, 6 inches less than his own height. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain.
Many cricketers have scored centuries in their first tests. Salim Malik of Pakistan, Mohammad Azharuddin of India, and most recently, Mark Waugh of Australia. But only one cricketer has scored a century in both his first and 100th tests. Who done it?